Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Chalk Talk. This is our second episode of Super Bowl week. We're going to be breaking down the Showdown Slate on DraftKings specifically. We're going to kind of go down just a little bit of game theory, some strategy on how to build lineups. This one's even different than the normal Showdown slates because I believe, like in all the Sunday night ones and the Monday night ones, it's usually around, I don't know, I would say mid 100,000, low 200,000 people. How many's in this one? Isn't it like 500,000?
470,000.
Yeah. So 470,000 people you're competing with. It's very likely, I would say, that there'll be some type of duplicated lineup. Like it's unlikely that someone will win this solo, but it's still possible. Like we've seen it 2 years ago. It happened. I think it might have even happened last year. But here's what I'll say, just from the top. If you are going to play a lineup that's going to be heavily duplicated, like you're using more than 49,000 of your salary and none of your players are unique, it's like all players that people are going to play, it's guaranteed you will be chopping it with hundreds, if not thousands of people, and just enter that lineup in a small field tournament. Just you can't win the million. It's impossible. Don't even enter that type of lineup in the Million Maker. Put it in a like 1,000, 2,000 field tournament, and you have a much higher chance of coming in first, and you will still win more money than coming in first in the Million Maker. You could beat out hundreds of thousands of people in the Million Maker and still come out less profitable than if you just put it competing against 2,000 people. So, but this is why in this slate, we're going to specifically go over strategies on how to play these large field tournaments and how to maybe create a unique lineup that could win a solo.
Yeah. You hang on before you jump in, are you going to do any double ups or are you just strictly tournaments?
I'll be strictly tournaments. I mean, there is probably a slight edge in double ups this week, considering how many newbies that just want action that never play Showdown are going to probably just play it just, to have some money on it. So there's probably a little advantage, but I'm strictly just focusing on tournaments here. I'll probably enter like the SPY, like $100 SPY for a lower, like a smaller field, a little more chalky, but not super chalky lineup. And then I'll be doing I always like doing the Million Makers on these Super Bowl ones. So
yeah, I mean, like even like the $3 tournament that they usually do, like the 100K.
That one's a 20 max, right?
Yeah, but like they bumped that up to 396,000 people entries. So like,
yeah. So I basically, like I'm doing, like, if you are using like even if you leave 1,000, like 49 to 50,000, and you don't have like some way off the wall play in there is zero chance. Like you're stupid for putting that lineup in the Million Maker. You're flat out dumb for doing it. Your expected value is so terrible. But we'll go in first. We'll kind of, I forget how we usually have done this in the past, Corey. We've gone kind of more
position by position.
Well, I mean, we can do that on this one and then kind of get into the more of the game theory. But the captain. So let's start out with our favorite captains here and like how we're gonna do it. We'll start out with you, Corey. What captains are you liking here?
Well, considering I think it's going to be a relatively high scoring game, I don't want to touch any of the Rams backfield. One, because Sonny Michel, Cam Akers, and possibly Darrell Henderson has a chance of playing this game. McVay's already come out saying that he has a good chance. I would assume that, he might not get 10 carries, but, he might get 5 to 7, just depending on, the game script and how it's going. So I'm going to kind of steer away from that, any of those being my captain. I mean, not completely fade them. Obviously, I'll do some. But my favorite captains, I mean, I'm going to go with, I think OBJ as one of them. At 12.6, he's one of the cheaper ones for top, options that you have. And then even go, I feel like this is a play or a theory that I have is grabbing a very cheap captain
because of no value on the slate.
Yeah. And then basically that allowing you to get, up to better players and then also leaving salary on the board. So
that's honestly a lot
That's-
of what I've noticed with
Yeah,
my builds.
I think this is like the perfect setup for me. I've been winning more just on these showdown modes than I have in full field tournaments. And I'd say pretty consistently when I win, I either have the top receiver as my captain because they're typical. I mean, Cooper Cup alone could put you there, but I think also if your receiver's having a really good day, the QB is probably having a pretty close amount of points. Oftentimes the receivers will have more if it's a huge day, and you usually get them for a cheaper price. So I like what you were saying about the go with the cheap captain, because what I find is usually you could fill out a whole lineup with an expensive captain, but you're going to have one or two spots then that you kind of have to take flyers. And if you could just boil it down to one flyer and you hit that flyer, you're pretty much winning every time. Maybe not
Cashing,
first, but
you're not
you're at least
winning the
hitting
whole
some
thing.
money.
yeah.
Cashing. Well, so Corey, you like Odell.
I like Odell. I like Odell, and I like Stafford as well. But if I'm going to go like talk about my theory and like go cheap, I mean, like, is it?
What are you saying? What are you about to say?
I want to say throwing like one of, I don't know. I don't know what I feel like me saying like putting like one of the tight ends as my captains.
I mean, it's not.
I know it's not crazy, but
They get
like
a
I feel like it's
touchdown
got to be
with-
Blanton because Uzoma is sounding like he's trying to play, and if they're splitting, it's like really hard for either of them to be captain. But Blanton has a decent matchup, so I guess he's viable. He'll be super low owned at the captain too.
and he's had, I mean, last week against San Francisco, I mean, he came in, he played pretty
Yeah.
well. 5 for 57. So
Yeah.
I mean,
So you're right now it's Stafford, Odell, and Blanton.
as my first look, yes.
Okay. So you're also gonna avoid Cup. I'll get into me. I'll talk about Cup and why I'm kind of gonna be off of him. Just crazy to say, but
I mean, I don't think I'm gonna be fully off of him,
no,
but
but captain.
yeah, captain is just you play him at captain. You mean you
He's
bring
gonna be like
Tua-
20 something percent on the captain.
yeah.
Nick,
So-
what are your favorite captains?
I like T. Higgins and OBJ, just kind of going along with the pick the best receiver theory. And I try and look into, I think when you get more split matchups, it's easier to go with the stacks. But I think that you can't really, I mean, you can go with a stack, but I'm not as confident this week in rolling with that strategy. So
What do you mean? I don't know what do you mean by that?
like you could sometimes load up on a team that puts up 30 points and the other team only puts up 14 or something.
Oh,
Like,
are you talking about doing like a five, like 5 players in a lineup and one on the other team?
yeah. Yeah.
What side would you be doing? 5 Rams or 5 Bengals?
Well, that's what I was saying. Like I typically do that in regular season for heavy mismatch games, but for this one, I think it's going to be a little more even. You should probably get, just from a risk perspective, some exposure. I would have at least 2 players from
both.
each team if you can. But I think it's always good to mix in one of a kicker or defense. Honestly, I like going there as my fly. Like if you have to go with a cheap player instead of like a flyer, and you could swing it under that cheap captain, like that's a pretty good like leverage play, especially coming down.
Oh, you're talking about a captain doing that.
No, not as captain, just overall in general.
Oh, okay.
I actually really like in these close games having a field goal kicker, because you're watching your scores and you got to look for leverage, as we talk about all the time. But last points of the game might come down to that kicker, and he might just boot you right into some money there. So I think I'm definitely going to play the Bengals kicker, just because I'm not as confident with their red zone abilities. I think they got better deep ball potential. I like T. Higgins a lot for that, but
Why wouldn't you like chase for the deep ball?
I think they're going to shut him down.
Okay.
I could see Jalen Ramsey shadowing him, honestly.
I hope he does, so people stay.
I think they're going to do something. They got to do something unique to.
I think if
stop
Jalen
that
Ramsey
offense.
shadowed Higgins, Higgins is more likely to get shut down. Shadowing Chase isn't. I hope that happens because that getting one-on-one with Ramsey, like Chase could easily win that matchup. But
Yeah, it'll be interesting.
okay, so my favorite captains are it's a lot of the receivers. Like I'm not doing any quarter. So I only play quarterbacks captain when I think it's gonna be a shootout. I don't think it's gonna be a shootout. So I'm gonna be sticking to receivers and the Rams running back here. So I like Jamar Chase, Odell, Higgins, Van Jefferson, and Akers. Honestly, my favorite captain might end up being Akers purely for the cost saving. So I've gone over the slate quite a bit. There is literally no value. Like every slate, there's usually like some $200 play or some like 1 to 2K guy. I mean, there is nothing like the defenses and kickers. I'm going to pretty much have one of them in every lineup. Like I'll probably 100% every lineup's going to have Bengals, Rams, McPherson, or Gay. And I think it's like they're like some of the cheapest you can go. Like I'm looking through here at running back. Like I'm not playing Samaje Perine. That's the lowest you could go at running back. I'm not playing him. At receiver, the lowest you could go is Ben Skowronek. But I mean, the Rams in the Super Bowl, like they're gonna go with their guys. It's gonna be Cup, Odell, Van. Like they're not gonna. I mean, you could do him, but I'm just not going there on this slate. And then at tight end, the lowest you could go is like someone like Bryson Hopkins, because sounding like Uzoma and Sample are going to both play. At least that's what Uzoma's saying. Higbee's for sure, like not for sure, but I mean, he's highly, highly doubtful, meaning Bryson Hopkins will be the second tight end. So he's like the only $200 play or like cheap guy that I have even considered. And I'll probably have a few lineups with him. Just because, but the thing is, I only really like using $200 plays in games I think are going to be shootouts, because the only time they really enter the winning lineup is when everyone's going off Chase, both quarterbacks, Cooper Kupp, and then you need all those guys. And the only way to get there is playing someone like Bryson Hopkins, who can get you like 3 points and still be in the winner. But I don't think this is going to be a shootout. So that's why I don't think you need to go to the $200 range. So the way I'm going to do it is I'm just going to try to pay down at captain a little bit more. And then that's why most, like all my captains are like, Akers, Van, T Higgins, Odell, pretty much all of them are under 13K. And then I'll just, I'll have my value defense or kicker, and then all the mid-range guys. And that's what I'm doing on this slate. And, I mean, what do you guys think about that?
What do you think about? I'm also thinking about another captain. It's probably gonna be more popular. If you think it's a low scoring game, why don't you throw a defense in as your captain?
Because that's what won it 2 years ago when the Rams played, when it was that game where there's like no touchdown, someone solo shipped it. I believe they had like 2 defenses, a kicker, maybe 2. It was like just the most crazy lineup that like no one had, and he won it solo because it was an absurd game. I just don't think this game is like low. Like I think it's like more like a 24-21 type game. And those games, it's rare that a captain would be in the winning lineup unless they scored like 2 defensive touchdowns. So, I mean, it's more plausible on this slate than most, just because of there's being no value, and like having the Rams or something in the captain and being able to get other things in there could work. But it's just rare that in like a mid-scoring game, like in the 40-point total range, that you'd have a defense as the captain, which is where I think it ends up. Akers is honestly, like, I really hope like Henderson, they announce is active and things like that, because he'll probably be one of my highest leverage plays on the slate. I just think with the 2 weeks leading up to the Super Bowl, like this is their guy, and they're not going to want to lose this game and think like, oh, we could have give the ball to Akers more or something. Like I think they're going to go with their guy, and I hope ownership comes off of him when like if Henderson's announced active and people are just scared out of this backfield. Because like I said in the last show, I think the way the path to the Rams' victory is through their defense and the run game. Especially if the Bengals are going to drop so many guys back in coverage, like that could really open up Akers.
Yeah.
So
No, I mean, I don't mind the Akers play. I don't know. I get scared away. I mean, that's what something that you need that we're talking about. Like, if there are 3 running backs active for the Rams, like, I mean, it's going to split the percentage of ownership throughout, like, across the entire board. So I can see why putting him in a captain is one of your favorite plays, for your leverage plays. So okay, besides the value of Cooper Kupp at captain, why are we staying away from Cooper Kupp? Because I can't fully fade him.
I'm not fully fading him. So I'm not. So like he'll probably come, I would say, over 75% in the Millie Maker. When it comes down to it, I think between captain and flex, he'll be around 75+% owned. And I'll probably have 0 of him in the captain. One, because like so many people are going to have him the captain that it's going to be really hard, especially since I'm kind of avoiding, like I said, those $200, $600 plays. And I'm really going with, like, for me, the way I'm getting different is having to get different at captain and then leaving salary on the board. Like that's my only path to being unique on this slate. And having Cooper Kupp in the captain really makes it hard to do that. Like if I had Cooper Kupp in the captain, I'd just have to use someone like Bryson Hopkins or someone like that, because I just don't see any other way you'd have like a unique lineup.
Fair enough.
Yeah. My favorite lineup, I have T. Higgins at captain. I have both kickers.
Well, Corey, can you share screen doing this? Because we can start constructing.
Yeah, I'll show you. We could build my favorite lineup. It's basically all the top receivers and the kickers. But, the more I look at the slate, like Van Jefferson. And
he's one of my favorite. He's like, when you talk about a low owned leverage play, he's I think my favorite play.
I think
if I'm not playing Cooper Kupp, I think I have to be over the field on Odell and Van, and I really want to be over on Van.
Yeah. My only hesitation with going heavy Van is ever since OBJ came on board, he's only broken 10 or more points one time. So to me, you're better off paying down and go get a kicker. You probably at least get 6, 9, 12 points out of the guy. And, you pay 1,000 or 2 less. That gives you some more room to go get the guys up top that you really want. So, yeah, if you want, we could build my favorite lineup.
We'll build. We can kind of go through some of, like, Corey had a few favorite captains. I think we should kind of, because everyone's gonna have different captains that's watching this that they like, and I think we can kind of give insight to how to build a lineup with that captain and different ways to do it. So. Yeah.
Let's do it.
And still remaining, you're trying to be unique and not duplicated. So we'll start out, I guess, Nick, you can go with your Higgins lineup that you like.
Yeah. All right. So go T. Higgins, both the kickers, Matt Gay and Evan McPherson. Then go get Cooper Kupp, Jamar Chase, and OBJ.
Dude, you have to have a quarterback in here.
I don't, because you have exposure to all the main receivers. So I think that you're picking.
Here's another little stat
right there.
There's, out of every showdown slate I've like analyzed, it's like 96+% of winning lineups are using. You have to have a minimum of one.
But this is where I'm trying to get different.
I mean, I guess like so, but it does not make
odds
sense
that a touchdown is scored. So I'm basically banking on all passing touchdowns here, right?
But explain how this lineup is in there, is a winner without someone like Burrow or Chase. This lineup only makes sense if you're using like running backs.
Because if your top guy, like if Burrow has,
how is Higgins the captain and then Chase at his price tag in the winning lineup and not bringing Burrow with him instead of someone like Kupp?
Yeah, because you could have 2 receivers have a touchdown and 100 yards, and you're not paying for both of them.
So Burrow's throwing 202 and no other yards to anyone else?
Say Burrow has 300 yards and 2 touchdowns, and you get OBJ who has half of that, and Cooper Kupp has the other half, and then 30 yards goes to other random, like Van Jefferson or a tight end or Cam Akers. you're going to have a good lineup. So I'm kind of just betting on like a lot of passing. I think Sean
If you're
McVay
betting
put up
on
3
passing, you need a
points.
quarterback.
I
I've never
disagree.
in my life seen a lineup that had 4 receivers in it and no quarterback. I've never seen it win. Because I don't think it mathematically can, unless the receivers are scoring rushing touchdowns.
Which we know this is a very popular season for that. So this is just how I'm getting different. I think everyone's going to throw quarterbacks in there. So I'm getting leverage, taking all the big receivers.
I would say that if you're going to fade quarterbacks, I'd go. You would probably put Mixon and Akers in there because that's how your leverage. It's not jamming in all the receivers.
Do you think Jamar Chase or Cooper Kupp could outscore Stafford or Burrow?
Yes, but it's the combination. T. Higgins can't be the captain and Chase being in there. So that means Higgins is scoring the most on the entire slate. He's outscoring Kupp. He's outscoring Odell. He's outscoring Stafford. He's outscoring every single person. And so he's going crazy. And then Chase at his price tag to outscore like Burrow and Stafford is also going crazy. But they both can't go crazy without Burrow either replacing Higgins or Chase. Like it's hard to
Burrow got
explain.
hurt.
Unless
it's the
Burrow got hurt.
PPR too. Like I think that's
I'm telling
where
you, it doesn't happen.
Okay. All right, let's do another one.
Okay, Corey, so you like who?
So I'm gonna go with the cheap option here for me. I'm gonna go Blanton. I'm gonna go Stafford. I'm gonna go OBJ. Excuse me. And then see, this is where I kind of get stuck here. So if I go,
so you don't want another Rams pass catcher, I don't think.
No, because if I was going to do that, I put Stafford as my captain. So
correct.
I'm gonna go with
because it wouldn't make say Blanton. You couldn't have Odell, Blanton, and Kupp with Stafford in the flex. You would have to be the captain because the only way all 3 of that. Yeah.
So then I'm gonna save some money. I'm gonna fade Chase in this one, take Higgins. And then I'm gonna grab McPherson and the Rams defense.
Yeah, you leave 9,000.
Yeah. So that's just kind of right off the top of my head. Obviously the Higgins is replaceable.
Yeah, you could like put Chase or you still leave what, like 5K or something?
6.1. So yeah, I mean, there's ways to get there. I mean, if you really wanted to, you go Stafford.
But Corey, you said you think it's a higher scoring game, so I don't know if you could have Rams and McPherson.
So
unless you really think the Rams
just onslaught and so what I'm thinking is like if the Bengals are going to get there, if it's a high scoring game, the Bengals are going to get there. When I say high scoring game for the Bengals, if they can get to 20 points, 21 points. So give me 2 touchdowns from, Higgins or Chase, one of the 2. And then McPherson has 3 field goals or so, 3 or 4.
But then that means if Higgins or Chase is getting 2 touchdowns, I mean Blanton, because remember you left 5K, so you could easily swap probably like Blanton for Higgins, and unless Blanton's also scoring 2 touchdowns and over 100 yards, which is highly unlikely, you would have to swap those 2.
Yeah. But okay, let's do Cam Akers here for you then, Peeps.
So yeah, if I have Akers in there, I mean, I'll be using both Stafford and Burrow, but I prefer Burrow. So we'll go Burrow because Akers catches passes too. So then I have to put a kicker, a defense. We'll go with in this one. We'll probably I don't like doing Bengals defense when Akers is the captain, because that if Akers is the ceiling guy, that means they're probably playing from ahead, and Bengals D would be pretty unlikely to get there. So I'll do this one. I'd probably do Rams D or Matt Gay. Let's put Matt Gay in there.
Okay.
And then I need a Bengals pass catcher. I'd probably go Higgins. And then, like I said, I want a Rams pass catcher, so I like Van. Then I have 13-2 left, and that allows me to get to Chase. I can put Chase in there. and I leave what 2,800. I wouldn't get Cup in there because I don't think that really makes a whole lot of sense to have two Rams pass catchers and no Stafford and Burrow with only one. So I'd probably do like Chase. You could put Mixon in there. You could put I could go Boyd and leave a lot of money.
Yeah.
Yeah, 7,800. So like that's kind of like what you can do with Akers. And that's how I'm going to get different. I would just rotate out Matt Gay for Rams defense, Bengals kicker, and do different variations of that when I have Akers in the captain.
Mm-hmm.
Let's do a Cup, because I know people are going to want to play Cup, and like
Right.
there's ways that you avoid it. Like, let's show how you avoid a Cup lineup in this type of contest. Put Stafford in there. Put who's going to be popular? Odell in the mid range, or Odell or T? Probably T
Let's
or
go
something.
T Higgins. I mean,
Yeah.
if you think Cup's going to take the market share, then
Okay, so yeah, this will be like
Go
a
chase the other
lineup that
top.
everyone's going to do. So then people are going to probably play like Blanton because they have Stafford in there. They'll be like, oh, Higbee's out, Blanton. Then they'll probably play the Rams. I could see Rams defense and like McPherson. Everyone's high on McPherson. Put like McPherson in there.
Instead of Rams defense. Okay.
Yeah, because people are going to want to get Bengals. So right now, people are okay. I got T Higgins and I got the Bengals kicker. I got Cup in the captain, Stafford, Blanton. You have 5,600 left. What is like Boyd or someone fit in there?
You can get Boyd in there at 54.
Or no, is it possible? Because I know Akers is also going to be possibly, or maybe he won't. But that's the type of lineup that you should just completely avoid. Like that lineup has zero chance to win $1 million. It maybe has a chance to win a few $1,000s. There's no way you're winning anything substantial entering that kind of lineup into the Millie Maker. Now, this is how you would
not because you wouldn't place.
What?
Because you'd be splitting it. It's not unique, but it doesn't mean you wouldn't place.
No, you would never play this in the contest to begin with, because so in the tournament, you're competing with hundreds of thousands of people for $1 million, but this lineup never had a chance to win $1 million. You would enter this contest for that same $15. There's going to be $15 single entry contest where you're competing with 4,000 people, and the top prize is maybe like $15,000, where you actually could win the 15,000 solo or something. Or you put it like when you're facing 1,000 people and winner take all, which would be what, like 15 grand or something.
Yeah.
You actually can win 15. Your ceiling is 15 grand. This lineup in the Millie Maker, the ceiling is like a few $1,000s, and you're competing with way more people, 100, 200 times the amount of people.
Yeah.
You would never enter this lineup into the Millie Maker, and people will, because this lineup will be duplicated hundreds, if not thousands of times. And you're just dead in the water to begin with. Like your expected value is terrible.
Yeah.
So that's the concept. So the way you would build a Cooper Cup lineup would be, so you go like Cup in the captain, and then Stafford. And then you could do, okay, this is when you need a completely off the wall that no one's going to play when you have a Cup. So that would be, you're playing, let's get into the $1,000. Like, so you would play someone like either Trent, is that Trent Taylor or something?
Yeah.
But he might even have like 5% ownership or 3%. Someone like Bryce Hoskins is someone you'd want to play, the backup Rams tight end, because it's also a little correlated with Stafford too. So you'd play someone like him, and then you would play like maybe like the Bengals defense, because people won't want to play the Bengals defense when Stafford throws pick sixes. And if the Bengals score a defensive touchdown early or something, they would be playing catch up with people like Cooper Cup and having to throw the ball a lot. And then you'd play maybe you could put like a Bengals pass catcher like Higgins or something. And then you have 10,800. You could put Akers in there, right?
Yeah.
Like you get a running back. You leave $4,600 or $4,400 on the table. This lineup is a good lineup, or it's not necessarily like this is a good lineup that you'd play like double up, but its expected value is way greater because you have a shot to be duplicated with very few people, or maybe win it by yourself.
Yeah.
That's the type of lineup you'd build with a Cooper Cup. If you're doing the quarterbacks, just make sure you have at least two plus pass catchers with them.
If you think it's going to be like just an onslaught, go 3 and then run it back with the running back or whatever it might be, or run it with a running back as well. And just, if you think the Rams are going to win, so like if you think Rams are going to dominate, you go. So this is like something that I would think about.
Well, dominate wouldn't be Stafford captain, because that would imply that there's back and forth going on.
Well, if you think it's like a high scoring game and there's a lot going through,
right? If it's a high scoring game, that means it wouldn't be an onslaught. It would be like
when I talk about onslaught, I mean like onslaught of 5 Rams players and 1 Bengals player or something like that. So Aaron, stay with me here. So Cooper Cup, we'll go Vance here, and then you run it back. Well, no, hang on. Then we get Blanton as well.
You'd probably have to have at least 1 Bengals pass catcher.
No, I know. So let's go Higgins, and then it leaves you 4,800. And you could go. You could maybe not now. Now I'm looking at it again.
Yeah, it's tough. The value is so terrible in this slate. It really is. That's why I don't know. It just shows you how easy people will build. Like when they go Cooper Cup, Joe Burrow, Stafford, it's going to come to the same build. It's going to be quarterback, Cooper Cup, Odell, then they'll go down and get like a kicker and Blanton. It's going to be the same. There's going to be so many lineups duplicated like that. And that's why I think paying down at captain and leaving lots of salary is going to separate yourself on the slate.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's hard.
That one sucks. It sucks though, because that one you have Blanton in the captain and you still have Scourneck in there.
Yeah.
It's I don't think you can play. What was it? I think out of Stafford, Burrow, what are the top dog? It's Chase, Burrow, Stafford, and Cup. I think you can only play 2 of them. I really do. I don't think you can get away with playing 3 on this slate. If you do, it's using someone like Bryce Hoskins. But
yeah,
I don't think you can get away with playing even 3.
This is all 4, and then you use
and you know what's crazy? This lineup would be kind of a little unique because people aren't going to be playing Trent Taylor and Hoskins in the same lineup.
No, but it just shows you that there isn't really much you can do. So again, theory that you can go by here, we'll just stop the share because we are getting to the end of it. Just goes to show you that you don't you have to go off the wall. You have to go cheaper somewhere. And the best place to do it, I think, is at your captain, because even if he gets Blanton, just because we've been talking to him.
I think it's like the Blantons, the Van Jeffersons, the Boyds, and then leaving salary. I really do think that's the smartest way for this particular slate.
Yeah, if you can leave,
you're really different, but are you really scoring more points than everyone else in that scenario? Just because you're different doesn't mean you're going to win.
No,
right? No, it doesn't mean
you got to go for most options. You go for the points. Go for whatever lineup you think will score the most points.
No, that's not how you play.
That's literally how you win.
Nick, that's not how you. That's
okay. Wait, hang on.
Every contest is different. Every contest is different, and when you're playing a large field, 500,000 people in it, you can't just play. Oh, Cooper Cup, Stafford, Burrow. That obviously is.
So you would rather have a random lineup than split $1 million between 50 people?
Not 50 people. We're talking with hundreds of people where your cap. You're competing in hundreds of thousands. Your most you could win is $2,000.
I think.
Why would you put your lineup in that tournament and not a tournament where you could win 10,000 solo?
Okay,
against 2,000 people.
What I'm saying, I think what Nick means when he winning is making money, not winning the whole tournament. He's talking about winning money. So if you're going,
you wouldn't enter in that tournament.
Okay, people are, but
they are, and it's stupid. That's my point. Is your expected value, you would enter those optimal lineups in single entry lower field tournaments or lower amount of people where you're competing with 3,000 people or something, because your expected value for the same lineup instead of competing against 500,000 people, you're competing against 3,000 people. and you can win more money in the field with 3,000 people. So why would you put that lineup in the Millie Maker? It makes no sense.
Okay.
Upside.
There's no upside because you can't win the million.
But
Okay.
then you're less likely to win if you're playing like all these jabronis. Like,
No, so it's
you're
not
not going to
jabronis.
win
It's
with
just,
Blanton. Come on.
You could win because you have to understand you don't always need the highest scoring person in the captain. So Blanton doesn't need to be the highest scoring people. He just has to be the right play to where, because there's no value on the slate where you need like all the mid-range guys in there. Whereas the people with like Cup in the captain, even if he's the highest scoring person on the slate, the Cup captain lineups aren't going to be able to get to some of the other guys that the Blanton captain lineups
so
has.
what we're saying is the lower tier guys just unlock the combination for a winning lineup. That's the possibility of the outcome. So I'm not saying like, yeah, everyone go play Blanton or, someone else there because it's guaranteeing you a win. No, it's a risk and, it could burn you in the end, but, like if you're going to play and leave like $1,500 or less on the board, playing in the smaller field tournaments makes more sense because you can win more money. That's what PB's saying. I understand what you're saying too, Nick. Is like, well, if I'm just playing to win money, like, maybe
if you're playing to win money, then play to win money. Put your same lineup that in the small field tournament, you could win hundreds of dollars with the same one. But in the Millie Maker, even though if you placed in the top 200, you beat out 490,000 people and you're in the top 200, you're still getting a worse payout than placing 10th in a 2,000 field.
There's no way to predict that. I mean, there's like odds, but you just never know.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
you can tell what lineups are going to be duplicated, Nick. Based on
hypothesize.
Well, it's
max amount of points. That's how you win the game.
It's been
correct. And each slate, you want the maximum amount of points and you want no duplicated lineups or as few as you can possibly get with that lineup.
Yeah. Okay.
That's the name of the game.
Of course.
What?
Right.
Yeah, of course you want you don't want to split a million with anyone, of course.
But if you're creating lineups that no matter what you don't enter them. That's just what it comes down to.
All right. Well, we are at the end of the show here. It's been a fun ride here. We've won some money. Fun season. We'll definitely keep it going through the off season as well. So keep a lookout for that. Thank you guys for joining, listening, like, and subscribe, and we will see you next time.
See you guys.